Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Grizzly once again from Lexington, Kentucky. From coast to coast, all around the world. We have a special guest on the show tonight that you're going to be delighted to hear. Shane, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Grizzly. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful.
Good to hear, man. It's been good to do an interview on a Monday night. It's a little different. This is a first for me.
So why don't you tell me a little about yourself?
Well, my name's Shane-Michel Crisp. I'm a part of the North American Dogman Project, and I'm out here on the West Coast, out stationed in California. And my main thing is I'm looking for dogmen and trying to, prove the existence of these creatures as sightings are, increasing more and more. I think that the main interest in the cryptid community is the dogman now. I think the Bigfoot's been sidelined for a little bit and is the newest cryptid, and the newest fascination is the dogman.
Yeah, and when we talk about the dogman, I watch the shows on TV that talk about the dogman. I mean, it's freaking scary.
Terrifying. Yeah. Who thought werewolves really existed? But the thing is with dogmen is they're bigger and they don't shapeshift.
Well, and there for a while, probably about 10 or 12 years ago, I used to carry silver bullets in my guns.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Don't ask me why.
Hey, you're smart, man. I think I should be packing some silver bullets too, instead of 12-ounce cans.
So, but it's real hard to get a hold of them now because of the price of the silver. But I think due to technology, when it comes to cell phones and how they can record and take pictures now, are so outstanding compared to the ones back in, the early 2000s, the 14, 13 errors. Mm-hmm. So I think that helps a lot. And they're everywhere. I mean, people I interviewed, they're just everywhere across the continent, everywhere across the world. It seems like people are seeing them. I mean, what's caused the sightings?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the werewolves, and there's Japan has had sightings of werewolves. They call it the Hokken over there. I mean, if it's in Asia, and if it's in Canada and the United States, and as well as England, there is dog-headed creatures all throughout the world, and that's what's terrifying. And then what's going back is the recorded history from the cynocephali to the Anubis, the dog-headed creatures in Egypt. I mean, it's thousands of years.
Right. Hello there.
Hi. Hey, how you doing?
So, and that's the thing, right? Is that we're seeing more and more, we're hearing stories more and more. We're seeing shows where we're having dogmen on all the time, where they're tearing up cars as people driving off. We're doing stuff to where people are, being shaken. Hello there. Being shaken in the deer stands and stuff like that when they're deer hunting. And, I just don't know what to say to that, because scientists tells us what does and does not exist. Scientists tells us what we do and do not hear. We have monsters that washes up on beaches across the country, the nation, the globe. And the first thing they do is they dig a hole and bury it.
Covering the evidence.
Yeah, I mean, wait a minute. So what if it's 21 meters long? Get a crane and a big old dually or something, or a flatbed, and let's put it on there and take it back to a lab.
Exactly.
But they're not doing that. I mean, they are they're so worried about freaking people out. We already got 120 people on the beach sitting there poking at it, taking pictures.
Well, what do you think about the Roswell crash? There was probably people that they hushed into silence and threatened them. So that's the thing. It's the government's way of hushing the public, and so there's not a big outcry and people freaking out. So they silence them.
How you doing, ma'am?
Hey, this is Eva. And tapped out tonight.
He did?
Yeah, he couldn't do it.
Oh, so John and Eva, why don't you introduce yourselves?
All right. Well, Eva, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. Well, first of all, my name's John Miller. I am currently just the Maine State Regional Rep for the North American Dogman Project. I met Shane this year. This guy is just on fire. He's jumped right into it. He's got a one heck of a personality. It's contagious. Like, he's got just positive vibes that I like, and you know, I'll speak for myself. I try to live outside the dogman community drama.
Yeah, there's no drama in my book.
Yeah, there is. I've seen both sides of it, and I'll tell you right now.
I think it's BS, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but I'll tell you, I mean, we're here for a reason. I'm going to tell you right now. I've never had a dogman encounter, but I've had paranormal encounters. But I am just lit on this subject. I have been for about 3 years, and I'm just absolutely fascinated. I think that this is one of the most important topics, to talk about. I don't think it's anything to be brushed or swept under the rug. I think that this is happening. I think it's a phenomenon that is real. I don't think it's anything that is made up. I don't subscribe to any particular conspiracy theories or truth theories, whatever you want to call them. I mean, I've always been into the paranormal, but there's something about this particular subject that has just grabbed me by the horns, and I haven't been able to let go. And I'm constantly seeking answers, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, well, all we can do is just do our best, and we'll probably never get any answers. I don't have that mindset. I'm gonna get some answers, but what I have done is put myself out there in a very personable, in my opinion, a professional and personal way to talk to people and get to know them, people who have had experiences. And I feel like this subject is worth my time and effort. And
What's your time?
This is about 24/7, and if I'm not, someone's going to remind me about Dogman again. But yeah, sorry, I'll shut up for a second. But no, please chime in.
Even make sure you send me a friend request too. Get with Michael or Shane-Michel, and
Chris, I did. Grizzly, I asked her to come on instead, just to sort of, I mean, she's someone I know closely, and she's very involved. And I've seen her at the Beast of Bray Road convention, and she was at the Tennessee Dogman convention on August 13th. And, she's got her opinions. I got mine. Shane, my man, he's got his. And
we all got opinions.
And you. And personally, and I don't want to detract from the situation, but Grizzly, can you just give us the 45-second Disney version of your story? Because I'd like to hear that too.
Well, my stories are all paranormal.
Well, no,
Sasquatch or Dogman or anything like that related. It all happened after my grandfather died and was down at the lake. I was probably 14. And I got up to get something out of the fridge. And when I did, I saw somebody on the porch smoking. And I thought, what in the hell? I'm like, there's no way you can get through the porch door without us knowing about it because, hey, it's locked. Too, when you open it, it makes one hell of a noise and racket, and it's got bells on it. So I pulled the shade back, and he took a puff off of the cigarette, and his side of his face lit up. Man, I freaked out, ran on my grandma. I said, get up, you got to see this. You're not going to believe what I'm seeing. So ever since then, I have slept in his bed. And when I was married, younger, my early 20s, I was slapped in my face real hard, and I thought it was one of them playing a joke on me. And I come running out of the bedroom, and I was mad. I was just furious. They're like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Who in the hell just slapped me laying in while I was sleeping, taking a nap?" Like, nobody's been in there. And I was like, "Then explain this handprint." You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "Yeah. So which one of you? Tell me who done it." Well, of course, somebody confessed to it, and my grandma says, "Well, it must have been your papa. You're sleeping in his bed." Man, I got freaked out. Got in his drawer, got all of his holy rosaries out, and hung them in 4 corners of the bed and everything. They're draping down, and I just couldn't go back to sleep after that. It seems like everybody on my mom's side of the family comes back. So, like I said, all my experiences are paranormal. Now, some of the stuff that you all have seen and some other people have seen, I'm retired law enforcement. I got injured on the job. So I walk with the cane most of the time. So I guarantee if I ever go out in the woods with you and we're running, somebody's going to trip and fall.
Well,
Grizzly, I want to say thank you for your service, brother.
yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
I'm back
So,
in the loop, and I'm making it known.
Yeah. Well, I just want to be honest with you.
Me too. Eva, like I don't. Yeah, I feel like Lee Bucher was supposed to be here. He didn't. I talked to him right before this. He didn't want to come on, so I said, "Who's someone I can get to, contribute to the show? Who people might want to hear a different perspective on Dogman phenomenon." And first person that come to mind. So.
That's fine. So introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Eva, and I'm a good friend of Jonathan, and he introduced me to Dogman probably in early 2021. I had heard of Bigfoot, being in the southeastern part of the United States prior to being in New England. I have heard, stories and, Loch Ness Monster. And I've heard a lot of stories. And growing up as a child, we had, you had fiction, you had fairy tales, and then you had myths or legends. And, I've always found that fascinating. But the more I did research into people's experiences, and it just seemed to be across the board. It just seemed to be undeniable. These people were like law enforcement, people that would not want to sully their name in the community. I just felt like they wouldn't put themselves out there for, so many lies. Of course, there's people that like to hoax, but I do feel that
you always got little Johnny drunk out in the middle of the woods running on an ape suit, guys. I tell you that straight
exactly.
Straight
and I definitely have seen the fakes, but I've also seen the people who have truly seen this. I've had 2 paranormal experiences that stand out, and as a Christian, I'm probably on this with maybe a different perspective than most of you, but I don't know, but I tend to go straight to scripture. And
ladies and gentlemen, she brought it up. Religion.
Well,
you usually get mad when I bring it up.
Well,
I'm glad you brought it up.
I don't care.
We're going to talk about that.
But I definitely go to the source of what I was raised to believe is truth. And so I know that God made many beasts and creatures like the Leviathan and the Behemoth and all sorts of things.
Seen or unseen or unseen.
Yes. And so I believe anything is possible. And I definitely am a believer in Dogman and Sasquatch and to your point, when you first started the show, you were talking about why everyone wants to cover it up. It was Political Science 101 at the university I went to. They said the first day at school, I will never forget. The teacher said, the professor, he said, remember, the top elites of the government will always tell a narrative that will keep the masses at peace and have a sense of well-being. They will say whatever it is that
Oh,
they.
absolutely.
So that just goes to what you were saying. They are going to cover it up.
Well, and I always tell everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that, follow the money. I mean, look at the national forests, the national parks, the forestries, the Appalachian Trail, which I live not too far from. Look at Yosemite, Yellowstone, the Alaskan Triangle, and that's going to bring up 411. Where's everybody going to?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Shane,
somebody tell me.
you want to take this? Yeah,
Well, one thing that really blows my mind on this whole thing is the missing 411 cases and where they're mapped out and the underground cave systems. They almost align if you look at them side by side.
Yeah. So, dude, Hollow Earth theory, I'm a proponent of or for.
Yeah, I definitely don't kick any theory on that. I think the Hollow Earth theory could be very possible. And who's to say that if we said, no, John, you're wrong, there is no Hollow Earth.
Well, here's the thing, is that people who spend time in the woods and people who spend time in caves, they're in the minority of the people in at least North America. And, most of us are on social media and going to the 9-to-5 job, and you might take your family on vacation for 4 or 5 days each summer, and into a national park, and that's it. When David Paulides in the Missing 411 movie that everyone knows about, The Hunted, when we at least bring that to light, look, we're talking about people who spend the majority of their time in the woods, who are they know how to handle a weapon, they know how to handle surviving if something becomes an obstacle, and they go out prepared. And for this many people to disappear, and I'm gonna just quickly, I don't like using the word piggyback, but what D.A. Roberts said on your show a few weeks ago, like in Teddy Roosevelt, and before he became president, he had his own experience. He didn't bring it to light until he became president. But the first thing he did was establish the national forests and in the states. And I definitely am gonna back DA on that. And Teddy Roosevelt had his own experience, and I mean, he went right for it. So.
Well, millions of acres got protected.
Yeah, I mean, it's even on the history books that Daniel Boone shot a Sasquatch and killed it with his musket.
So like in the words of Steve Isdale, is the facts by how to hunt. He's like, we're not even debating, like, are these things real? He's like, we already know they're real, whether we're talking about Dogman and Sasquatch. Now it's just like we're looking for answers, and that's something that I'm committing myself to, is finding out answers. And if I find them, fantastic.
Right.
That's okay too. But
so, Eva, what's your take on the missing people?
Well, I do believe that the powers that be, the forest, the service, the National Forest Service. I think that they're definitely covering things up. I look at the news stories a lot, and there's a bear ate this child, or it was just last week on Fox that some child was like found halfway up a mountain, and okay, maybe it's a mountain lion that did it, but it seems the numbers are padded by the Park Service.
You see mountain lions there, you'll see drag marks, or it'll take it back to den or grizzly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But up a steep 400-foot ravine out the side of a hill, it's just I think I know which case you're talking about, Ava. It's the Corey Godsey case that happened in 2020 down in Kentucky. 14-year-old boy
Yep.
snatched out of his yard. Yeah.
That
They covered it up, wild dog attack.
yes, that one I remember that now, but there was also one just last week
Oh,
that
wow.
they said they think they've just got it as animal attack. They have no clue, or they're not telling us of what kind of animal killed this boy. And I wish I had cited that before I came on, but I didn't.
We can Google it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, but there just tends to be a lot of cover-ups going on, and the people who work for these agencies, who leave the agencies, are coming clean now, and they're saying they will write it down as this, or they'll underline it with a certain red pen to give other it's all encoded. They all know what they're doing. They're hiding it from the masses because the masses cannot be in a panic to have a civilized society. They just can't.
Can you
Well said.
imagine
That's 100% true.
if America came clean and told everybody that Dog Man existed? Can you imagine how many rednecks would come out on the weekends driving with shotguns and rifles and four-wheel drives and stuff and going hunting? I mean, let's be realistic about it.
Full on war.
You have $1 million screenplay to a movie right there.
Yeah, I mean, so, but Shane, what do you think about these missing people? I mean, how did they just disappear? Their camping gear, their clothes, their bicyclists,
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's all Dogman or Sasquatch. I do believe that some of it's paranormal. You look at David Plotty's thing. He bases it off of 6 different events. There's always a weather event that happens, and these people go missing, and then they find a pair of shoes 2 weeks later. And then where's that one guy that was in Canada that was skiing with his friends? Woke up in California 3 weeks later. Didn't even know how he got there. Is it UFOs? That's what it gets me. There's so many different wormholes, rabbit holes you can jump down to. Why are the missing 411 cases going up? I do believe certain things are Dogman, and when they do cover it up with wild dog attack, or like Ava was saying, a wild bear, do I believe it's Sasquatch related too? I do believe that they do abduct them, and I mean, I had a good buddy tell me blondes and redheads are like Sasquatch's #1 thing they target.
That's what I heard.
Yes,
and I heard that women do not go in the woods on their menstrual cycle.
Exactly.
Yep.
And with that, I mean, my wife is blonde, so she's my research partner. So maybe I shouldn't take her out with me deep into the woods. But hey, if I could draw something out and get that photo or just something I can prove the existence to myself, that's what I might just have to do. Yeah, but no, I really do think that they have code names. The local law enforcement, I think in Ohio, when they get the code that gets called in Black Dog, that's obviously a dog man. What is it? Black Bear, I think, is for Sasquatch. It's just there's so many cover-ups, and then they'll shut national parks down for a week or two, and all of a sudden they reopen them. Why are they shadow agencies going in and clearing these things out, or those three-letter alphabetical agencies? There's so much to it, Grizzly. I mean, we can go on for hours on that, but I do believe that the 411 and the missing people, something to do with paranormal, but same thing with cryptids. And I believe there's more cryptids out there that need to be identified that aren't. Like, there's a new one I had never heard of called the knot deer. It blew my mind. Like, there's something out there called the knot deer. So I started looking more into it.
What is it?
It looks something like not a deer. It's in the name, just like Bigfoot. There's something to it. It looks somewhat like a deer, but the way it stands and it's just there's some more. I think the veil's thinning, really, to be honest with you. And that's like how Ava was saying. The government wants to keep us at don't want public outcry or freaking out, mass hysteria. That's why they cover things up like, oh, wild dog, but a knot deer, the Mothman, all these other things. I mean, Nick Valente went on to, what was it, with Jessica Jones last night, and said that he discovered that they were just the horseshoe bats. That was the Jersey Devil. But is there really a Jersey Devil out there? Who knows? We almost need, is it paranormal or is it flesh and blood? That's where I'm on the fence in 50-50.
Right now, no one's an expert on this. and I'm not referring to Nick Valente because Nick Valente is a good friend of mine.
Mhm.
You know, I technically work with him, and you know, I'm part of Region 3, but just Region 3 for NADP. But I don't think anyone has any real answers. And Nick Valente is seeing a dog man at a stop sign in New Jersey, and he was like, "Yeah, it was 8 feet tall," and he said he saw lights, lights in the sky. Like, and even Nick doesn't, subscribe to it's an extraterrestrial thing. I will tell you this: I've been to Lee Hempel's farm on Gray Road in Wisconsin. He showed a large group of us some pictures that he took on his property, and as far as areas of high strangeness go, I think there are points on the Earth that things might happen. I mean, scientists talk about wormholes, black holes, and that, in different dimensions. And that, if you're not a believer in paranormal, try to view it as just science based. There are, places. I mean, even in what's the place in Northern California where you can stand at a 45-degree angle in Santa Cruz?
Yep.
The mystery spot. I mean, they
Mhm.
don't know why things happen there, but the guy that owns the property there is like, yeah, well, we have a resident Sasquatch who comes here. So I think these things are beyond the flesh and blood argument. I haven't seen one. I'm not proclaiming I know any answers, but I don't think that this is just a flesh and blood phenomenon going on. I mean, there's too many people saying that there's telepathy happening. There is emotions experienced beyond emotions their human beingness has ever experienced, and I think it's beyond fright. I think that there's some remarkable aspects to this that need to be looked into more. And look, I mean, all I can give is my opinion, and I'll leave it there. But I do have a lot to say about this. And
But nobody's an expert. They can't be. I mean, nobody knows the truth or the facts.
No, I mean,
and she brought it up, ladies and gentlemen. So here I'm going back to it. We're going back to religion. God said that he tossed or threw out 1/3 of his angels from heaven. Now, he did not say that he cast them into hell.
Right.
He said he cast them out of heaven. So where'd they go? Are these the watchers?
These are, yes. These would be what the Book of Enoch described, which is not in the canon, but it's extremely interesting because it takes the reader from Genesis 6, which is a tiny little piece on the Nephilim, and then it expands upon it. And they went, and according to Genesis 6, they saw the women of the earth, the humans, and they mated with them, and they made the Nephilim, the giants, who caused great destruction, and they were very evil. And then God sent the flood, and they were destroyed. However, if you look into Scripture, like Numbers talks about, it uses kind of the word Nephilim, meaning like the sons of Anak or the Amalekites, and also the Anakim. So those three words are all kind of tied together to be related to the Nephilim. And sometimes later on in the Bible, with Moses trying to get into the Promised Land, they talk about giants. Goliath was a giant, and they're sometimes referred to as Nephilim because perhaps it was just a local way to describe these things. That I think Goliath was 9.9 feet tall. But here's my thing. I know people go back and forth just talking about whether they're flesh and blood or if they're supernatural or if they're both. I tend to think they're both because the Bible talks about angels coming to earth as human beings. They're in flesh and blood. For instance, the first angels that appeared to Abraham, because his wife was beyond the age of having children, they appeared to him to say, "Hey, your wife's at 90 is going to have kids," and they were sitting down and eating and drinking. So why can't you hear all these animal mutilations? My friends had a personal one on her farm where the animal was surgically disemboweled and on 250 acres of land in prime forest. So it's just, I feel like, well, why can't they be both? Just if you're just taking it from that perspective of scripture,
Well, and talk about the Bible, and I'm not here to offend anybody by any means, but the Bible, there are so many missing books from it. That Bible was put together for a reason,
Correct.
and I do believe that. Now, I do have my Christian views too, so don't get me wrong. But the religion, the Bible, Enoch, it all ties together. It's wild how the Egyptians on hieroglyphs and picture glyphs, what they try to picture us or show us what they saw back then, and who they dealt with. I mean, they just didn't make this stuff up. They really didn't.
Right. We didn't.
So there's a question. Anybody on the board wants to take it?
I'm going to give it to Eva. She's from Alabama. This is Bama Bigfoot. It's looking like. Can you see that, Eva?
I'm sorry. Did you say something? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, he wanted you to take the question.
Take what question?
The one on the bottom of the screen.
What does it say?
It says, where they fell is what they became, is what it says. So where they could be air elements, water elements, fire, and so on and on. Well, I don't agree with that. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I do.
Really. Is it Satan that unleashed the gates of hell and let Dogman out to cause havoc and hell on earth? Are we in the Revelation times?
Yeah.
I think we're definitely in the Revelation times, but if you think about, once the angels had rebelled, they did what they did to create the Nephilim. So it's in Deuteronomy, I think it's chapter 2, verse 21. It talks about there was after the flood. I'm going to read it right here. It says, a people as great and numerous and tall as the Anakim, but the Lord destroyed them before them, and they dispossessed them and dwelt in their place. So it's intimating that another race of giants took their place after the flood. So I'm trying to put this together. It's extremely difficult for a novice.
It is.
I think something took its place. I think that something supernatural can come down at any time and decide what they're going to do. I mean, I know there's a few stories out there of dogmen being very, benevolent, but the majority of them, of the people who interact with these creatures, are terrified. They feel evil. The eyes are lighting up that are in an unnatural way that animals would not. I've seen the photographs from Lee Temple's farm as well as Jonathan has, and it doesn't make sense that this is some kind of flesh and blood creature.
Yeah, and just to bring, I just want to tell you real quick, so Lee Hempel doesn't just have dogman phenomenon happening on his farm. He has, there's UFOs, and then, you can say the word UFO and be like, oh yeah, UFOs, but he had moving body, deer carcasses and black shadows. I'm just going to say right now, I think these things can cloak, and the Predator movies, I don't think that's an idea that Hollywood came up with. I think it's something that And it's, actually, just to go a little deeper, if you look into Star Wars, the first one, there were two like alien, like werewolf characters that they tossed. I mean, you Google it, like there's a whole thing about it, and like they got rid of them. They were like almost like dogmen. I mean,
Well,
but
explain
anyways,
this to me then. The movie Independence Day, the original one.
with
You
Will
know,
Smith.
the government scrubbed that 13 times before they were able to make that movie.
Oh, did
Didn't
that
know
happen?
that.
Yep,
Wow.
13 times, and you can look that up on Google before they were able to release it and to film it. Now,
Didn't know
why is the
that.
government getting involved in a movie?
I don't know. It's like the Navy got involved in Top Gun Maverick. I think they just pick and choose what they want to do. I mean, obviously they tell us what we want to, or what they want us to know and to hear. Like, I mean, what, 2 years ago they were finally like, okay, like something's going on, and then now they're finally like, yeah, they're called UAPs now, and I was actually part of I'll just tell the story real quick. In 2004, in August, I was I used to play in a heavy metal band, and I still do now, but we were on the Ozfest in Tinley Park, Illinois, and Black Sabbath was the headliner. And when Black Sabbath was playing, in about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes before, the entire like suburban community of Tinley Park, the outskirts of Chicago, and the History Channel did a special on this called the Tinley Park Triangle. We saw a massive mothership of 3 red lights in the sky, and over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, it moved southwest, and people along the southwest saw it, and like everyone at Ozfest saw it. It was just like a thing. Just Google Tinley Park Triangle. I think it was August 14th, 2004. Like I saw it, and that was like, I was like partying like pretty often like back then, but that was the one night that I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take it easy, and I was like, I remember leaning against the bus and not with a couple of dudes from some other like big metal bands actually, and we were watching this thing in the sky for like an hour, and of course the next day the newspaper, because we pursued this story over the course of the week. They were like, oh yeah, it was like there was an air show, like it was like, dude, it was not an air show. Hands to God, like that was not. I mean, you could see a massive mothership, but anyways, like there are things that are happening, and that people don't want us to know about.
And also, Jonathan, to your point, I've worked in aviation, for a while, and a pilot who sees anything that's abnormal and reports it will be hauled to HR and to a psychiatrist. I mean, it's getting a little bit better now, but
yeah, actually, I met Eva on a Delta Airlines flight, and we just happened to fall into the same community. But yeah, she works.
Yeah, they do. They are conditioned by the FAA to not report anything. So, I mean, we're going off on a tangent about what's in the sky, but I know that's not the point of the show. But yes, I do believe that the government is, because I have firsthand experience with one particular part of the government, dissuading you from coming forward because you're going to be labeled a kook. So.
Yeah, and it's amazing, especially looking at Dogman, is that we can bring up the land between the lakes.
Yes.
That's one that's on everybody's mind, and Nick Valente went down there and investigated, and he went to the gift shop or the support center or customer service, whatever, and he saw a gentleman in a uniform behind the desk, and he went down there and he said, "Hey, I'm Nick," and blah 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 blah, And the guy just looked at him and walked straight off. Wouldn't even talk to him. And he went down, talked to the other lady, and she did the same thing. Wouldn't have any communications with him. And that original site where allegedly that happened has been moved, if y'all didn't know that.
Oh.
So
Yeah, and you know, like I'd like to hear what Shane has to say about this, but you know, Roger's story, whether or not it's true or not, it doesn't really matter because everything I have heard from people I trust, like Jody Cook, Nick Valente, you know, and Bart Nunnally, you know, people who have like been researching this, like they've, especially Barton. I mean, Barton's like one of the most legit dudes I know in the field, like for sure.
He's in Kentucky, so
yeah, but I mean, Barton was into this before most people knew about it. But like, he's a stand-up, true or tried and true dude, and it's not my place to say anything else. I have been to the LBL. I went to that conference in Tennessee, but I don't want to like. I think there's a lot of personalities in the field, and I'm just gonna. I'd rather just sort of remain in the shadows. But I do, you know, if called upon, I will tell my opinion. Shane, you have some Dogman photographs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Grizzly. I think I don't know. I don't know if you know that, but like Shane has.
I have to see him.
Well, that's the thing. The ones I've taken out here in California, it looks like there's a wolf-looking head. It's probably pareidolia. I'm not claiming it's a dogman. I have a buddy that lives in Kentucky who goes out to the Daniel Boone and outside his house and takes pictures and shows you what he sees. That he's not claiming they're dogmen, but dogmen run rampant through the state of Kentucky.
Paul?
I mean, look at LBL. Yeah, Paul Chafin.
Yeah, you probably know Paul Chafin. Like that dude's legit. Like.
And he doesn't care. Like if you say, "Hey, this is pareidolia," he's going to be like, "Okay, well, I'm just telling you what I see. If you don't like it, kick rocks." He doesn't care. He's just straight. He's a straight shooter.
Yeah,
he presents what he sees, and it's up for you to decide.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and to be honest, times have changed. You know, 20, 25 years ago, you were not able to talk about stuff like this.
No, we don't. Bro.
And now people our age and our generation, you know, I'm hearing a lot more of confessions on people's deathbed when they were in the service. Very interesting. And I've seen people's evidence collected on Dogman, and the footprints are massive. I'm just massive, unbelievable. Like, you know, if I saw something like that, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably just drop dead and have a heart attack right then and there, you know. Something growling at me or snarling with all the teeth and everything. But, you know, it's just amazing. And Shane, I sent you a link. And usually I don't bring this up, maybe once in a while, maybe at the end or something. But, you know, talking about the community and everything, even the Dogman's perspective, you know, how we talk about there's drama and everything else. And
well, there's not just drama in the Dogman community. It's all over, whether it's Sasquatch or if it's Mothman or
I'm talking the community as a whole. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because you're gonna have, like John was saying, you have people that have egos and want to be the experts or claim to be, but it's just it doesn't help us grow as a community when you got someone over here bickering and battering over something. It's just we take two steps back, and that's if we could all just come together and combined our theories together. And like John was saying, 25 years ago, we wouldn't be able to talk about this. We're in 2022 and we're slowly removing the tin foil because it's okay now to talk about it. The government's slowly releasing bits and news bits every single day about a UFO. So who's to say in 20 years that the Dogman's not going to be the most popular one and someone's going to get that Patterson Gimlin film of one? It's just bound to happen. Technology, like you said earlier, Grizzly, it's going to get better and better to where we're going to catch these guys peeking around a tree with the perfect wolf head. It's going to be blinking. I mean, Scott Carpenter's got some good stuff, but he's been, thrown around that saying, oh, he's just a fake. You're going to have naysayers no matter what. D.A. Roberts told me personally on an interview, he said, Shane, you can have a dog man holding a sign that says, I am a dog man, crystal clear 4K, and people are still going to say that's fake. So,
yeah, you always
just
have your haters.
got to throw the naysayers aside and just do your own thing. I think that's what we all do, We're just all trying to find answers on these things.
So what I did one night is I couldn't sleep, and I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was thinking about what we're talking about now, about the community as a whole, and everybody's evidence that they collect and so forth. And I own several Facebook groups, and 3 of them are paranormal, and I have no negativity in there, no trolls. My rule of thumb is scroll it. If you don't like it, just scroll on, right? Let it be. And they always ask me, Grizzly, take a look at this. Is this a real photograph or a real video? Well, unfortunately, I always say, number one, I wasn't there. Number two, I didn't take it.
Yep. I say the same exact thing. If you have nothing nice to say, just keep scrolling. If you want to put your 2 cents in, hey, there's a place and time for that. But just to be negative on someone's who's just, like you said, they weren't there taking the photo.
Yeah. Steve from the Facts by How to Hunt, he goes, take from it what you want or leave it. It's as simple as that. And check it out.
Most you're right about that. You're absolutely right. So with all this in mind, I was trying to figure out something because I belong to 846 groups, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Busy guy.
Yeah, I try to keep up with who's doing what and who's finding what and trying. I mean, it's just almost impossible. But I notice a lot of people don't share their information.
Out of fear, out of ridicule, I believe.
And we're not only talking about that, we're also talking about groups to groups. They don't share. Look at our evidence compared to your evidence and look how similar it is across this state and this state. So what I did just for fun and hoots and howls is I started a group up for everybody. It's called Share Your Evidence Podcast, EVPs, Footprints, Howls, and Growls. So that way you can go in there and post anything you want. And if you don't want to know anybody or you don't want anybody to know who you are, you just slide a little button over, it says anonymously, and you can post away and your name's not there. But this is a way that people can come out and say, from your group, this is what we found. And from this group, the Dogman group, this is what we found. And we can, share evidence. Maybe you're doing something in your investigation somebody else is not doing or trying. I'm just trying to open up the doors. And so far it looks like
perfect that you've got a platform for that, Grizzly. There's not many like that because people don't share out of being ridiculed. Because I was one of those guys that went out and took pictures because what made me a believer in the Dogman was Paul Chafin's photos, and then he taught me on what to look for. I was going out there doing the same thing. I started posting various groups, but then I started seeing the negativity and the naysayers say, oh, it's just pareidolia. I was like, well, maybe it was, but hey, the woods were dead quiet. I'm not saying it was a Sasquatch, but this is what I'm seeing after I was reviewing my footage. So that's why I stopped posting, just because of the negativity, and just keep it to myself.
Yeah, and doing the podcast and everything, there's 2 different links. We have one link to the program that we use. Then we have the other links to the 8 different platforms that includes YouTube. And YouTube has its own different link. It's where we share out to everybody, right? So I was sharing out the one that the program makes, and a lot of groups were like, no, we're not having you post that. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, they have to go to your group to watch it. I was like, they do? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's the big deal? Well, you're taking away my members. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go.
Oh, gotta love it.
Now I post only the YouTube link everywhere and not the program link. So with saying that, ladies and gentlemen, that Facebook admins and moderators, thank you for letting me post in your groups about our podcast. Greatly appreciate it. So, but yeah, I mean, that's how particular some people are.
It's a reflection of human society now, is that people get their confidence from, behind a keyboard, and I'm not going to go and start talking smack about how life is, in 2022. But look, I'm just trying to align myself with good-hearted people.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And it's like, like we could be watching Monday Night Football right now, but we're here. We're talking about something we feel that deserves the respect and deserves a subject that deserves to be acknowledged, and it's for sure a real phenomenon. And that's it. Like, I would say I will come follow you, and like let's just like be like-minded people, and that's it. Like, I'm not really interested in sparring with people on this. I'd like to have some answers, because this is a subject that I go to sleep at night and I'm like, wow, like bringing dog.
And it's a very interesting topic, because Dogman has been a broad topic lately for quite a while. And now you're starting to see him on TV and some of the paranormal shows and so forth, and you're having eyewitnesses coming forward, and some of them won't even come forward. They, black out their face or change their name or their voice. There's some serious stuff happening out there. And, it's up to you guys to try to collect that evidence and share it. It really is. What do you think Dogman is?
I feel like
that.
So I'll take third on deck for this.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyone want to take first and then second?
Ava, you can go first.
Oh, great. Well, probably be the least popular, but I do believe that it's probably a product of the fallen angels. I don't think it's something good. I don't think it's something lovely or beautiful or anything that's from heaven, from the heavenly realms. I think it's something suspect and something we need to have knowledge about so that we can be prepared. Because a lot of us love going out in the wilderness, and I think we just need to be smart about where we go and just learn from others' experiences. So I personally do not think it is something good. It most people will say they were terrified and they felt a sense of foreboding or evil or whatever. So I just don't think it's something good. However, I'm interested in it because I definitely don't want all these people to continue going missing. And, to me, I care about humanity. And this is also very interesting. I think as humans, we're drawn to the mysterious. So, it's human nature to find an interest in it. So I'm probably going to say I think it's on the dark side. That's me.
Yeah, it is. And I agree with you on that. Shane?
I believe it's flesh and blood. I'm 50-50. I believe that it is interdimensional as well. But, if it's breathing and chomping down on a deer carcass and it's breathing, it's flesh and blood. But when you see that one footprint and then it just disappears, is it jumping into a tree or is it jumping through a portal? That's where I do believe, like Ava said, I do believe that there is some bad to it. But I believe that you got these people walking into its home turf and they're territorial animals, just like a pack of wolves are, that you're pretty much walking into its bedroom. Of course, if someone walked into your house, wouldn't you be like, hey, get the guns out, what are you doing in my house? Of course, that's where I think they're going to show that these things, and especially when they go bipedal and you start hearing the bones cracking into formation so it can go bipedal. Yeah, it's not something normal. If you just saw it sitting on all fours, you're just going to think it's a big black wolf. But when it stands 8-9 feet tall, that's when people get scared and, pee their pants or just they're horrified because.
I would.
Oh yeah, I know. But it's the people going out into the woods that are looking for them. They're like, what I'm doing. I'm probably doing it wrong, but that's how I'm going to get my answers is boots on the ground type research. I can only do so much behind a keyboard or behind a computer screen. I want the answers. So I'm going to be that one that's going to go piss off a dog man and hopefully just get that interaction and say, hey, these things do exist. I saw it with my own two eyes. But if I go missing on the 411, hey, I went out doing what I enjoyed doing. I was seeking answers. I hope it's not like that. I pray to God it doesn't happen.
If that ever happens, I'll donate a show to you.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I do believe, like Ava said, I do believe there is some evil too. I think any dark side, same with Sasquatch, you've got the ones that want to coexist with human beings, but then you've got the ones that, like the Gugwe or the Janoskwa, that are very territorial, that will eat your face off. I mean, these things just don't want to be messed with. I think it's any type of creature when it's territorial. Even for a bird, for example, you go up and try messing with its egg, it's going to dive bomb on you. So that's where that's my opinion on the dog man. And I do think that these things are very intelligent. Hey, let's go scare this group of people in the woods that are partying. Yeah, they probably go and do that for their interaction. Just like we go to the movies and sit and watch, Jason kill a camp full of people. It's entertainment. So I do believe that they do use humans as entertainment to a certain degree. But that's my theory on it.
John?
So I'm going to fall sort of in the middle and on the outskirts of all of it, because do I think they could be demonic? Yes. Do I believe that there are forces of light and dark that exist? Do I also think that there's too many people who have said they've had telepathic encounters with dogmen to just consider it plain flesh and blood? Yes. Do I also think that human beings notoriously have used canines? Because sometimes I lay in bed at night, I'm like, why, like, whatever this is, why is it taking on a canine form? And if you think about it, a canine has superior senses, whether it's smell, hearing. Like, if you wanted to use it as, or utilize it as a scout, like, let's say it was extraterrestrial and you wanted to find a water source or minerals, you wanted it to be able to defend itself or intimidate someone from a certain crop of land, like, you would have a muscled 8-9 foot tall canine to stand there and guard it, or to scare people off, because too many people survive the encounters for it to be just I think there is some sort of cosmic law and order where not any being is allowed to, because, like, going back to the Bible, we are at least the people of Israel are, human beings were created in God's image, and we are somewhat protected. And this goes into the reptilian thing and the hollow earth, along with dogmen. And the reptilians, if you subscribe to that, they hate us. And I don't know. It seems like dogmen are almost like some sort of, because people say they find them around cemeteries a lot, and there's something is going on where enough people have had encounters, and I just don't think it's strictly flesh and blood. I believe that anything, even a demonic being, can, if it spends enough time on this side of the wall, it might have to take on flesh and blood, and it might have to eat and hydrate. That's why they see them around water, in order to sustain that physical body. I don't really know, though, but and that's why we're here. We're just here to talk about it, So that's all I'm gonna say. And Grizzly, what do you think?
Well, see, and that's my problem. Is that when I think it's so hard to think about. Is it flesh and blood? Part of me says it is, but then I look at the spiritual Bible side and biblical side of it, then I think about Satan and his demons and everything, and hearing the stories and reportings and seeing the evidence. It's just, I'm at a loss. I really am. I never seen one, thank God. I do appreciate that. But, I've been offered to go out on many retreats or expeditions with people. And I'll probably do that someday soon, yes. But I'll probably be that guy that cannot run because he has too much ammo and firearms on him. So, unfortunately, but you know, hearing people's stories and their encounters is it's so amazing because they're so similar, but they live so far apart, and they describe the same thing, the same image, you know, and what they're doing and what they're not doing, and what they were doing at the time when they had the encounter, you know, just like that.
Grizzly, have you talked to Martin Groves yet?
No.
Okay, I would say get in touch with him. Like I was moved. I had like chills when I heard him speak.
His story was so authentic.
Yeah.
When I heard it for the first time, I was crying. This
Oh,
man,
wow.
it was genuine.
Yeah, and he's law enforcement too. And this guy, Flat Rock or gal, who's leaving a comment right here, I would hit them up too, Grizzly, because they're saying I'm willing to share what I have, to be scrutinized by anyone, especially the skeptics. I want to be proven wrong. So, hey, maybe get in touch with Flat Rock. They might have some key to the puzzle.
Well, you know, the thing is, you never know.
Yeah.
You really don't. So, but, you know, looking at everything as a whole, you know, it really makes you stop and wonder, you know, everything that we're seeing that's not just, you know, Wolfman or anything or Dogman or and stuff. You know, I actually started a cryptid collection of coins that I made out of Sasquatches. There's 6 in a set. And now I got my Dogman coins in today, and I'll be putting those up there in the groups, you know, because it's something finally people can collect instead of T-shirts, keychains, and whatever else they want to do, right? So, but
well, hey Shane, you and Grizzly, Eva, you're already up here in Maine, but Grizzly and Shane, if you ever want to come up to Maine, there's the International Cryptozoology Museum. They got a big old Beast of Bray Road life-size model here. If you ever want to come up, yeah, you guys always have a place to stay.
I appreciate it, brother.
yeah,
I definitely will take you up on that because I want to go visit the Palmyra area, especially with that one from the Palmyra case.
Yeah, Shelley Rockwell Martin. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I'm not going to speak for her, but I will tell you, and this is before I found any sort of faith, is that when I spoke to her about the Palmyra encounter that she had, she told me that she found her faith again because of it, and she said that she was convinced it was of a certain origin, and she said that was the catalyst for her to find her way back to God, essentially. So,
and I've heard that a lot. The people I interview, you know, and I heard a lot of people that I have interviewed in the past, unfortunately, got diagnosed with PTSD, and they suffer from it from day to day. They have nightmares and terrors over it, you know, because they can't wrap their mind around it. You know, they just can't understand what they saw. You know, it's not supposed to be real, but it is. It's out there.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we're not capturing pictures of something out of nowhere. We're not getting prints. I mean, the prints are, you know, rice on the cake or pudding in or finger in the pudding, however it goes. But
needle in the haystack, even.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and don't get me wrong, guys and ladies and gentlemen. I know there's people out there that fake everything. Okay, shame on them. That's the ones that bring the dark light onto the investigators and in groups and so forth. But you know, you have to be somewhat experienced to actually be determined on what is real and what is not real. You have to learn through other people that have experience, has been around. And I always tell people, if you want to learn about Sasquatch or Dogman, go to your local Indian tribe and spend time with them. They would be more than happy to talk with you and share the information over the generations and so forth. You know, because some of them say they're skinwalkers and so forth. And, You know, it's just I don't know. I mean, the
Yeah.
stuff that I've seen on TV, the stories I've heard, you know, I mean, what have you all seen?
So I was on. I'll tell in 1993. Like I went on this summer camping trip, and we went to a Navajo reservation, and I had no idea about like cryptids really. I mean, maybe Sasquatch, but we went to a Navajo reservation, and I said, "Yeah, do you guys have any like?" Because I've always been into paranormal stuff, but I asked one of like the elders. I said, "So what kind of sort of like spooky things like are happening here?" And he said they're skinwalkers, and he said, "Don't you?" He said, "You don't even say the word." He said,
Right.
"Saying the word will bring them into your life," and that sort of like terrified me, and I just kind of left it at that. But he was like, I remember he said like they can go from here with we were in like it might have been like Tuba City, Arizona, or he's like we then go to from here to Chicago within like 15 seconds. He's like, they can't, like, you say the word, you're summoning them. So I was like, cool. Like, all right. And then I was like, I'm going to leave it at that. Like, that's kind of just spooks me. But
It is spooky, and that's the thing that I can't get over is the people that I've spoken to. It's just so amazing, and it makes you stop and think. I mean, you all been doing this for how long,
I've only been known about Dogman for a couple of years.
Shane?
I've only been in the dogman phenomenon for about 9 months. I heard the name and started laughing at it at first because I believed in Bigfoot, but my coworker was telling me, he's like, no, dude, you've got to listen to Vic kind of stuff. I was thinking, okay, these people are just lunatics. And well, I'm like, if I believe in Bigfoot, I've got to keep an open mind to everything. So I started listening to more and more of it. And that's what got me was I started doing more research. And there's actually there's real werewolves out there. I mean, that's what I thought they were. And then I start reading more and more on it. And it's like John said, it's something so new and it spiked my interest. And, I'm 31 years old. Like, I have nothing to lose from this. I've just got years now just to soak up like a sponge with all the knowledge I can find and theories. So I'd say 9, 10 months doing research, boots on the ground.
Yeah, Eva.
Yes, I mean, similar to Shane, it's only been about a year since 2021, early spring, that I had ever even heard of Dogman. I've always known about Bigfoot. My grandfather believed in him. I mean, the Indian, there's like 5 tribes from my state. And I never had really heard anything about Dogman, but Bigfoot was pretty much a given that it existed. And so yeah, Dogman about a year, and I just dove in.
Didn't your grandpa work for the TVA or something?
He did. He did. He
So
did.
that's like the Tennessee Valley Land Authority or something.
Authority, Tennessee Valley Authority, and they give about.
And that's LBL basically.
Yeah, that's LBL. There's a lot of stories about Dogman on federal property that's TVA run, and I have gone into the woods on federal property since I was 6 years old, and there's stories, but never seen anything. But I've heard a lot of.
No, ladies and gentlemen, she's not breaking any laws or anything.
No. It's open to the public.
Okay, I just want to make that announcement.
Yes, definitely. It's open to the public, and it was a big thing with Woodrow Wilson. I think started that whole thing with the nuclear power and the hydroelectric power, and just acquiring a lot of forest across like 5 states, I think 4 states. So.
And it makes you wonder why they do that. It's why are they doing that? I mean, I always say follow the money. And if you remember how many years back about that little spotted owl, and it shut down that lumber companies for so many states, to protect the owl, and can you imagine if they did that with Bigfoot or Dogman? They had to protect the forest and stuff from them. And I mean, look at the national parks, and and the money they make and stuff on coming in and camping and whatever. It's just wild. It really is. So, have y'all ever done any boots on the ground together as a team?
No, I would like to though. I would like to. I don't know if going and looking for dogman. I almost feel like it's like watching a pot of water boil, but that's the heat isn't even on. Like it's like I don't think that like going out and looking for it, like you're gonna find it. But I would be up for being armed and going out and investigating something if someone had a problem, and especially with people who I know and like have a relationship or a working relationship or a friendship with in this community. And I'm someone like anyone can just reach out to me. Like I'm part of like the NADP Maine, and like my name's John Miller, and like you'll see my name in the admin group. And like if someone has something that they want to share, it's like I'm happy to throw myself out there. Like I don't like I feel like I'm not here just for myself. I feel like there's like a greater purpose for this. And
Right.
some people don't think we'll ever have answers. I do. I think we will have some sort of answers at some
No,
point.
I do agree. I think we will have answers shortly somehow. I mean, there's too many people that are talking to you guys, and what do you think when people are telling you their stories?
I don't know. I like Shane. Shane is a guy who I met through. I've never met Shane in person, but immediately, like when we talked just through text, I was like, I like this guy. Like there's some like good like energy going on, and I don't know. I mean, Shane, you've done your own shows with Paul Chafin, and like
Yes.
I'm down with that dude because some people you just know. I don't know. Like I like I just think some people you can tell like if they're genuine or not, and like you can just tell Paul is.
Yeah, Paul's just like he just goes out there and he presents. He doesn't even have to do it, but he goes out there and he just shows you what he sees out there, and he's like, "Hey, this is what I'm presenting to you." And like Grizzly said, take it or leave it, or just keep scrolling. But like how you said earlier, John, you don't want to just walk out into the woods just looking for it. That's my kind of thing. I'm trying to do that, but being a part of the North American Dogman Project out here in California, we're going to eventually try to get a team assembled. And I got my first case finally given to me from Dev Rooney, who's the Region 1 director. And the case actually came from D.A. Roberts, but it came up 3 hours north in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And there's been multiple sightings out in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So as soon as football's wrapped up and I'm done being on this hiatus, I'm going actually to do my first investigation to go talk to the guy and meet up with him and show me the area where he had seen the dog man. And he claims
Wow.
up and down it is a dog man.
Right.
So I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. I'm like sitting there, horse in the gate, ready to go. I'm just waiting. The football's over. So
Right, right.
I'm
Even
excited for it.
Yeah, yeah. I sort of just look, not even really look for. I just sort of like if I click with someone like Shane, like I mean the dude's cool. Like I don't know who's been watching this the whole time, but like he's a cool dude, Like I don't know. Like I don't.
That's the thing with John and I. We bounce ideas off each
Like
other.
we just sort of like get like click. Like
Oh, dude, we'll talk for an hour and we'll just bounce different ideas. And the thing with John and I is he never puts my theories down. I never put his down. Like how he says, he won't go walk out in the woods, but I'm that crazy guy that's going to go do it, to go look for a dog, man. That's just what we bounce different ideas and theories off each other. And I think that's why we click so well. And he's on the East Coast, I'm out on the West Coast, but North American Dogman Project's nationwide and international now too.
Right.
So
yeah, that is true. Absolutely. What about you, Eva?
Well, I guess I'm kind of in between the two of them. I don't want to look for dogman, but I also do. I love the outdoors. I love the woods as much as I love the ocean. To tell me not to get into the ocean because there are sharks, I'm probably not going to listen to you, but what I am going to do is I'm going to arm myself with as much knowledge as I have to go into the environment that I love and be safe as a female. So.
Well, have you all not watched the show where the McCracken was trying to take down that sailboat last year? It was on TV. Yeah, I'm being serious. No joke. They actually had it on film. One tentacle came over to
where the couple in Florida saw something that looked like a kraken holding a baby manatee.
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Okay.
No, this one actually was on film.
See that?
I would love to see that footage or read that.
And one tentacle was over the sailboat. Another one was coming in through the stern where they paddle, the steer coming up through there. And I don't know if I can do it on this camera. I always do. The tentacle was this big around, and they still couldn't even see the body of it yet. And it was pulling the sailboat backwards. So this went on for an hour. They were beating it with paddles, and one guy pulled out a pocket knife, was jabbing it. It wouldn't let go. And finally, after an hour and something, it let go, and they're like, just stroking out. And it was all caught on film, and it was just like, there's no way of faking that. And it's on one of the paranormal shows, and I was like, that's incredible, because you hear the guys screaming, all three of them, and they're taking oars and just beating, and the guy pulling out his knife was just slashing and cutting. I would never go back in the ocean. Sorry.
Yeah, can you send me the link or send us the link in the group chat or something?
Yeah, I have to Google it, what show it was on, but it comes on every, is it Thursday or Sunday? I have to look. But I'll see if I can find the episode and post it, yeah.
That would be wonderful, yes. I should have just mentioned the woods. I mean, I guess that's maybe not the greatest analogy, but the woods is a place of beauty and peace, and it has been my entire life. But now, after knowing about Dogman, I listen for the signs of nature. I bring aside a firearm, and I also bring bear spray, and I do a lot of things in preparation. But I'm not going to look for him, but I'm also not going to hide. So.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's. I look at Nick Valentine and his group and what they take with them and what they carry, whether it's lethal or non-lethal, and some of the technologies they use. And they always have bear mace, Mm-hmm. And when I owned my gun shop over in Indiana, the police supply store, I couldn't keep bear mace on the shelf, and we don't have bears. And I couldn't figure out why. And this guy kept coming in like twice a month. And I asked him, I said, what are you using this on? He said, I own gas stations downtown Louisville, and this is great. It works good on crackheads. So he couldn't buy a gun, so he just stalked everybody out with bear mace. And he said they went nuts in the store. They couldn't find their way out. They screamed and hollered for mama.
Should almost be illegal to do that, but hey, if it works, gets them out of there.
I mean, if they're being robbed, they didn't just got bear mace.
Non-lethal.
Cracking.
That's right. So, and that what Dog the Bounty Hunter carried was bear mace.
I think that and a paintball gun. I think his guys were armed with paintball guns, but paintball still hurt though.
Yeah,
they'll leave a bruise.
They do. So, and he did. I mean, I was selling for $34.95 a pop, and I wasn't making too good money off of them, but I was making some to sell them. And because unfortunately in that business, you just can't buy one product. You have to buy a series or a line. Or let's say SIG, you have to spend up to $20,000 up front to become a SIG distributor. So, same thing with that Saber line. You had to become a dealer. You had to buy X amount up front and so much per year and restocking, stuff like that. And I sold tons of it, especially the bear spray.
know what they're now used for, I probably would be making them a lot of money too.
I had to ask them.
Real quick, I wanted to say hi to Carlito Castro and Miriam. They're in the comments. I just wanted to say hi to you guys. I can't reply back, but I see you
Yeah,
guys in the
should.
comments.
You,
I
you,
don't think I can. I don't have the option. I can see it.
if you scroll down, you should be able to see the bottom of it where it says.
Yeah, I don't get the option to. I could probably do it off my phone, but I just wanted to say hi to Miriam and Carlito.
What's up, Carlito? What's up, Miriam?
My wife's in the chat too. She's not commenting. She told me. She just texted me. I'm in the chat too. So, but yeah, no, I just want to say hi to you guys. And Darcy, how are you doing? But
Hey, what's up, Darcy?
Hi, Darcy.
Uh-oh. My dream is to shoot a dog man with a glitter perfume gun and see what its reaction is.
But going back to the squid that you were saying, or the kraken, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of things on YouTube Short that the megalodon or something. I mean, it sounds crazy, but only 5% of the ocean's floors have been discovered. So who's to say that the Mariana Trench isn't keeping something giant down there? So who's to say the kraken maybe wakes up like Jeepers Creepers every 22 years? And, who knows? I don't know. It's a theory. I mean, if that really happened and there's a clip and those guys were beaten with oars and stabbing it and it wasn't letting go, and like Eva said, she's not going to go in the ocean unless she's prepared and knows what's down there. But hey, if I can't see the bottom of my feet, you just got to just go out there and just enjoy life and not let it hold you back, I guess.
Let me
definitely equip yourself.
Okay, I pictured Eva with 2 scuba knives on each thigh and a samurai sword walking out in the water. When she said she's going to go prepared, because that's the only way I'm thinking you're going to go prepared.
Yeah.
So, now Glocks do shoot underwater, so think about that. But anyways,
or you can also use your fist. You can punch a shark in the nose and it'll bounce out. And leave you alone.
Do nothing.
Hey, Shane, your address, because I'm gonna send you a pair of Apple AirPods for Christmas for you.
Oh, no. Are you talking about me? No, you're good, but I actually do have a pair. I do appreciate it. These ones, they're the ones that'll equip to my laptop, so I can't Bluetooth my AirPods, unfortunately. So I'm going old school, iPhone 5. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. But I still got to get you your shirt, so I'm gonna order them. I think this week or next week. So
right.
But yeah, I'll definitely
get Grizzly and Eva a shirt too.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want, like I said, I don't profit off the shirts I make. I sell them at cost. Just $19 is what they start off with, and shipping shouldn't be too much. I just made a couple and sent one off to Odessa Roberti. She's actually a part of the West Coast group. So,
and I tell you, the best thing to use to ship with is Pirate Ship.
Pirate Ship, okay.
Yep. It beats anybody's prices, even the post office.
Well, see, that what I was doing originally was I was ordering the shirts and having them mailed to my house, and then I was shipping them out. And I'm like, well, why can't they just come directly from the factory, to the person's house a lot faster? So that's what I've been doing. But it's only probably $5-6 at most for shipping. I mean, unless you're in the same state of New York, but you guys are all in Maine and on the East Coast, so it'd probably be cheaper.
Not this person says that animal sounds like it could make a lot of sushi rolls.
Oh, talking about the Kraken. Feed a whole nation with that.
I mean, it's, once again, talking about things washing up on beaches and bringing up Dogman. And I know Dogman exists. I've seen the evidence. And, nobody's going to change my mind otherwise. I've seen footprints and stuff. So I've actually seen pictures. And, how can you fake a Dogman picture?
Hey, I'm going to tell you something right now. I forgot to tell you this earlier, but when I was on Lee Hempel's farm, he showed us pictures of UFOs, and we were like, all right, cool. And then he said, and now look what is descending from these UFOs. It was cylinders, like cylinder containers and you could see the silhouette of a dogman in them. I'm not kidding. Like I'm not just making this up. Like,
So now we're going back to the
Wow.
predator.
yeah, it was. Yeah, you even saw that. You were there, right? No, for real. Like,
And what did y'all
like,
think about that?
yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why I thought they scouts. Are they scouting for water sources, minerals on Earth? Like, because like better animal to equip to do that job to scout out is something with superior senses. But then again, like I'm sure people will want to down and say, "Oh no, like that's crazy." But I'm just telling you what there were still down from the sky, still dogmen.
It sounds like your mic's short now.
Okay.
Did you hear the crunching? Oh, it must have been Eva. Yeah,
Well,
it was Eva.
she might have gotten taken in a cylinder.
Nice knowing you, Eva.
Man, I tell you. But, you know, hearing that aspect of it, this person says in Washington State, it's easy to see UFOs and Sasquatch if you spend enough or any decent amount of time out in the woods and spend time actually looking up at the sky. But dogmen are not nearly as common. Okay.
Miriam's up out in Washington. So Washington's the number one state with the most reported sightings of Sasquatch. So, yeah, dogmen, I believe they are up in the area. Just that the reports, it's really far and in between up there. I think there's only 3 on the NADP's website. It might be even less. I know there was one in Bremerton. I don't think that was it. But then there was one outside of, I want to say Seattle area. I could be wrong. I mean, Miriam, you might want to correct me. You probably know more about the the dogman cases in Washington. But like the ones in California that I've been really reading on are far and in between, and some of them just sound crazy. There was one outside the Joshua Tree.
Sure there's tons of Sasquatch sightings that are in fact dogmen, and maybe vice versa. Because I mean, you see a large bipedal, like black, like
yeah, it might have been a Bigfoot, but a lot of did the person get a good look at it? Did it have a muzzle? Did it have the German Shepherd like ears? Who knows? I do believe a lot of reported sightings go, oh, it's just a Bigfoot.
Hey, Grizzly, I gotta be at work early tomorrow, but I have a couple of people, one from Australia, one from upstate New York, who have had dogman encounters firsthand. One has multiple pictures, and they're both legit. So I'll get in touch with you. And
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
I talked to them tonight about it, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go on this show." I said, you'll probably have a better story than me, but I think it's healthy to just talk about the subject. But
yeah, I mean, I do too. I think it's very healthy because a lot of people go around this world not paying attention to anything. They're always in their phone, even when they're driving. They used to drive me nuts, but now the encounters are so tremendously, you can't ignore them.
Nope.
Your average person is seeing them and giving you, eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, and shout out to Jody Cook and Nick Valente for, without them, I wouldn't be like here just feeling even comfortable enough to talk about it. And Shane, thank you, man. Like when Grizzly was like, "Hey, do you want to come on?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I want to see Shane wants to come on too."
Yeah,
because
truly an honor. Truly an honor to be on this platform with both you guys.
It's an honor just to have you guys. I mean, it really is. And sorry about Eve getting lost in the technical world. Hopefully it wasn't the government shutting her down. So
hopefully not.
Yeah, crossing that federal land. I thought, oh Lord, she just said that on air.
Well, yeah, I'll hit her up and see what happens. But I'll make sure she follows up with you at least, because it did seem like something sort of, the sound started crunching and then she was gone. But
Yep. And I'll tell you this, John, before you go, okay? And this is the God honest truth. This happened to me probably about 3 weeks ago. And some of my groups, I have police officers, psychics, mediums, and everything. And this one girl, she report paranormal happenings in her house, and I'm like, okay, I'll interview you, sure, I'll fill a slot in for you, and I got on here with her, and we started our interview on live video and stuff, and man, I thought this was just going out of hand, and she was talking about demons and all this stuff, people dying around her for no cause at all. The autopsy would show no cause. They couldn't find out why. And it was so dark. I was having computer problems, my switchboard problems. I actually called my medium out of the blue. I'm like, look, I need you on live. Click on the link. I need you to come on. And she came on. She was like, whoa, what's going on? I felt this negative energy. And like, that's what I'm talking about. So, and her phone went dead, who we was talking to. So she got on another phone, and she says, this phone's got full charge. And next thing you know, she got disconnected within 5 minutes. So, we told her what to do and so forth. And I told her who to reach out to, because she lives here in Lexington as well. And never heard anything back from her. But ever since then, I've been having computer problems for the past couple of weeks. And, and I asked the medium, what is causing this? And she told me it was the spirits that are attached to her. I mean, I got settings that are set a certain way, right? And they don't change unless you change them.
Yeah. Dude, the same happened to Josh Turner, who's a friend of mine as well. Like, I absolutely back that dude. And I've seen that same stuff happen to people. Like, something touches him from, he's had like something will touch him like live on the air, or he doesn't mess around. Like, he's a legit dude. And also, he has the same sort of complications, like whenever they're talking about something, sensitive too. Like, so yeah, that stuff will happen. I mean,
I'm trying to reach out to this guy. He's a Catholic exorcism guy. He's been doing it since 1982. And I'm trying to get him to be on the sideline so I can bring him in, on some of the paranormal stuff, and, get his take on Dogman, like bring him in at the end, let his, put his 2 cents in and scramble things up a little bit. And that would be kind of interesting, to see from his perspective and stuff. But who knows?
Hey, you know what? I would recommend getting Paul Chafin, Barton Nunnally, Martin Groves on your show too. I've seen, dude, your show's on fire, and get them all, man. And those 3 names I just mentioned are legit dudes.
100%. Great guys in the cryptid community.
Yeah, and
Josh Turner too.
He's a busy guy.
Yeah. And I always try to get, not only the well-known people, but I always get the average person as well.
Yeah,
dude,
their average,
their witness or their encounters too. So,
right on, man. Well, dude, I think you're doing a great thing, Shane. I think you're doing a great thing. I think you're
brother.
Energetic, spirited people in the community. Just you're fired up. You're young. You're just a genuinely good dude. And Grizzly, I've only known you a couple weeks, but dude, you're an amazing guy too, man.
I appreciate that. I really try.
Appreciate it, brother.
I really do.
To be continued, then.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I said, guys. Anytime, Shane, I sent you that link.
Yes.
Make sure and really share that out with your teammates and other friends and people.
I definitely will.
And don't don't be afraid to use it. And if you don't want nobody to know who you are, then just exactly like I said, hit that little button and nobody know who's posting information or anything like that. And we'll go from there. And, you know, that's what it's made for. And ladies and gentlemen, it's that time once again. If you want to be on my show, email me at grizzlytheparanormal@gmail.com. That's Grizzly theparanormal@gmail.com. From around the world, from coast to coast, we all say good night.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Later, brothers. Thank you.
Thank you.